Hi friends, how are you? Again, I will be just discussing not any autobiographical as usual. I would provide you the autobiographical details in coming days. I am just selecting all the anecdotes I had encountered in the past, and I would try to just bring it very soon. But in this part of the video, I would tell you that how to prepare for your government exam, for your government job, and how can you crack it. Whenever you are in 10th class, whenever you are in 9th class, whenever you are in 8th class, many of us are passionately busy with our study. Our parents, our mentors, and many of us, they always enforce us to for only focus on your subject, on your syllabus, and for fetching good marks in the exam, and to have the reputation in the school level, in the district level, or somewhere else. But they don't focus that what should we do and what kind of the subject we should choose at the initial stage of your life. Whenever you are in 8th class or 10th class, it is the time to select for the job you will be prepared for tomorrow. Now what you can do, no one knows better than you. Whether you are expert in singing, whether you are expert in dancing, whether you are expert in banking, railways, UPSC, PCS, teaching, medical, engineering, you can decide. It depends on you. Okay. What happens that many of the graduates, they are studying in Indian universities. Many of them are unaware about their future. Most of them, they complete their graduation, and after roaming 1 and 2 hours, many of them live in the village, and some of them, their relative, they live in the metropolitan cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, and somewhere else. Whenever they have the holidays or they have the vacation, they start roaming with them. During this itinerary process, they now decide to have some courses, because now they are aware with the city boys. Now they meet with such boys and girls, they are living in cities. And this discussion with all the boys and girls, youngsters, they are living in the city. And such boys and girls, they are from the rural areas, and they are from far and wide part of the country. Now, it is the mercy of the internet and online that many of them are connected with the YouTubes, and there are social other platforms by which now they are aware that what's going on in which part of the world or which part of the area. Now they decide for any preparation like banking sector, like railway sector, like teaching sector, and other sector. Now thereafter they start preparing for that. If you talk about me personally, then no one guided me after 10+2 that what kind of courses I should have. When I was I completed 10+2, and I was going to have get admission in for graduation that time from Delhi University. That time I was told to prepare for banking exam. But actually I was not a student of banking exam, because I had completely stronghold over the art subject, mostly geography, political science, Hindi, English, Sanskrit, and some other art subject. But he told me to prepare for the banking sector. What happened that had he already advised or suggested for the teaching sector, then I could also do my DLED that time, because for the teaching sector, if you are in 10+2 and you have the 50% marks at least, then you can do DLED and you can be a primary teacher in government as well as your private sector schools. But what happened that he told me to prepare for banking exam. As a result of that, I did not think about that. I thought myself that I would do the graduation, and then I would just start my UPSC exam. Because I was so much passionate, one of my building owner, he asked me one of the time, he told me to prepare for UPSC exam, because if you go in the public administration, then you would have a good reformation in yourself as well as for public. I decided to do the same. In 2010, I completed my graduation from Delhi University in BA program there. And that time I went to my one of the lovable relative. I would not take his name personally. When I went there and I preferred myself to be an IAS, IPS or a UPSC candidate, he completely denied and declined me. He told me, no, you are teaching, you have been teaching, and you would be a good teacher in future. And here in UPSC, though you would have the IAS and IPS post, but you have to still follow such ministers and such persons who are still uneducated in the country. And if you are not, you don't have the patience, you can lose your temperament and you can lose your job altogether. I did not know that time, because I was not so much matured in this sector, that what kind of preparation I should have. Later, when I came back, because he is much educated and he has good experience and knowledge of market, he was himself doing PhD in those days. I had also a friend, he is living nearby, he also went to with me on that day. I was very surprised and flabbergasted when I just listened to such words from him, that to be an IAS and IPS officer would not be better for you, but it would be better for you to be a teacher, mostly the PGT teacher, postgraduate trained teacher. I told him that for being a PGT or postgraduate teacher, I would have to do at least master degree, MA, MSc or something else. And then I'd have to also complete my B.Ed. Then I have to, I have to again, will have to pass out any state TET examination, central TET examination. He told me, yes, but you can do, because you have been a teacher and you have been teaching and you have good experience. But he never convinced me that you would be a good IAS officer, you would be a good IPS officer, and you have the stamina, you have the guts to prepare for that. He knew my condition, that I did not have any back support, and maybe he would have told accordingly, yes, this is also right. If you don't have the back support, if you don't have the back help, and you don't have a strong background there who can just support you, then it becomes very difficult for you to be a student of PCS or UPSC. In the newspapers and on the news channels, there are several circulation of the news that this person who was doing the work as a security guard, or he was doing the work on the railway platform, he was selling garland, and several other such surprised stories from such media persons. They succeed or they qualify, they crack IAS or IPS exam. But friend, I want to tell you that India has 150 crore population at least, and if in this population one who does not have any family background and whose financial crisis is not so much strong, financial crisis is completely always on some stake there, then how can this be possible that everyone will be successful in this way? If there are 1,000 and lakh of and 2 lakh, 10 lakh candidates, out of them one candidate successfully crack the exam of any PCS and IAS or any kind of examination, then our percentage of the success can't be counted accordingly as per our education. So don't think that if someone has succeeded, then everyone would be succeeded. The number of seats, the number of the vacancies, the number of the candidates they appear in the examination every year, you need to also take all these things in consideration, and only after then you should start preparing. You think that you are very good at a study, you know the tactics of the exam, strategy of exam, you have already been from the same field, your family members are always supportable, or some family members, they know the tactics or strategy of examination, they can guide you very well, they can help you financially, motivationally as well as psychologically, then you can be a good officers in coming days. But if you don't have all these things, then I don't say that you can't do, you can do, but there are less number of chances that there is a possibility to just crack any government. I don't talk about UPSC exam, any government exam, it becomes very difficult, because first thing you need to do is You need to know the strategy of the exam. You need to know about the syllabus of the exam. You need to believe in your preparation. You need to be completely you need to have the constant process for the preparation of your examination. You need to strengthen the subjects you are very poor, though, whether it is language paper, whether it is mathematics reasoning paper, whether it is GS paper, whether it is current GS paper, you have to cover it accordingly. And if you are not good at it, poor in it, if you are still unsuccessful after working hard and you have not cracked any examination, don't underestimate yourself that you can't do anything in your future. There are several other doors opened for you and you can enter in any other door. In India, what happens that if any some neighbor has become IAS officer, then all the neighbors, they are conscious that no, my son also do IAS, his son, his daughter would also do IAS, his son and daughter would also do IPS, his son and daughter will be also probationary officer or PO. So such type of cultures are pervaded and it is completely dominant. Okay, so you need to just come out from such taboos of the society that is completely prevalent in our country. My family members, they also used to tell me that you have been studying, you are going in 30s and you are going 20s or something else. They used to tell me, and you have still not cracked any examination of the government. They used to tell me before my cracking of Bihar examination, and still you are in private sector, you have been teaching the student in a school or your coaching center or some other home tuitions and some other else. So how many days would you survive like this? Would you be able to survive forever with your family members in coming days? Now after some days you would be married, you would have a lot of burden. Okay, so I would suggest you that these persons are not like that. They are actually they have the family environment, they have the society environment that force them to speak in this way. And what happened that the students who are not meritorious, who don't have complete strong hold over the subject, are they are back in the competitive examination, because such students have always passed out high school, intermediate, graduation, post graduation only for the sake of having the degrees. They did not have any concern for the future job, and when they saw that their friends have cracked any examination, their neighbor has cracked any examination, then they are provoked themselves either, or they are provoked by their parents or society's person. So never think yourself that you are still weak, you are poor and you can't do something else. If you have not cracked any examination, you should just think for other business or your talent. If you have any skills, you can hone the skill and you can do something remarkable. There are several other platforms. In the society you are living, your neighbor, it is not limited to that extent. Your life is very long, and you have your own skill, you have your own stamina, you have your own understanding, and what you can do in your life, you think better than others. What can I do? I can drive a car. Yes, I can drive a car. Who knows? You know. If I tell you, can you drive a car? Yes, you say in affirmative, yes, I can drive a car, because you know that you can drive a car, but I don't know whether you know driving, don't you? So such kind of things are prevalent in the society. So what happened later, that I did my master's degree. I also did BA in music, because I was always passionate for the music. I already told my parents that without music I can't survive in my life. So music is just like the food and beverages for my life. If there is no music, there is no life. I told them, and finally I selected for also the music courses for vocal, and I did my 6th year in 2018. Again in 2016 I did my post graduation in English, and in 2019 I did my B.Ed in English as well as social science, and again I did another graduation as well as because I already did my first graduation in 2010, and I completely read at least 14 subjects altogether during all these years higher education. So what happened that whatever I studied, I could not take advantage of all these things. But what happened that I decided to just prepare all these things and bring to such a platform from where it could be delivered to all in the form of the lessons to the learners or the readers. And I would do it in future, one after one, after my recruitment in Bihar. I hope that. And even still I think that if I am not selected or I am not in the Bihar government job or in other government job and in central government job, I can still create remarkableness in my life, and I can still bring positiveness in my life, because knowledge is everything. Your degree, your percentage is only for your appearance, is only for your formality, that you have studied BTech, you have studied medical, you have studied B Pharma. These all are the courses, but eventually your knowledge says whenever you are in the competitive examination, whenever you are there, when you qualify in the examination, that time you feel yourself that how much you have studied in your school and colleges, and you know that there is the very tough competition in our country. There is the cutthroat competition in the country. There are very less number of vacancies released every year by the state government or the central government. So never think and never be hopeless. Always think that you can do. If you think you can do, then you can do. So how to prepare for the government examination? You should always start thinking whenever you are in 8th class, 9th class and 10th class, that what sector you need to go. You need to go to the medical sector, you need to go to engineering sector, you need to be an UPSC student, you want to be a banking sector employee. You need to select it, and don't follow your neighbor, what your neighbor is doing, what your friend is doing, what your sister is doing, what has your father done, what has your relative done. Your relative has a different IQ, you have different IQ, your brother had different IQ, your sister has different IQ, and they had different meritoriousness, they had different skills and aptitude. You don't have the same. All the persons, they are living on the earth, at least there are above 8 billion population on the earth. They have different mental ability to create something in their life. And if you think that you would copy someone else, you would imitate someone else, he has succeeded in teaching job, you would be successful. No, never think. Though you have completed B.Ed, you have the B.Ed degree, you have the D.Ed degree, you have the PhD degree, you have your UGC NET degree, but whenever it is the time of teaching in the classroom, when you go there and you are unable to convince the children, your student there in the classroom, in the college or somewhere else, can you be called, or would you be called a good teacher? Would you be called a good lecturer? No, never. Because you compete, your friend compete and you compete. It did not come naturally. You are the student of medical. You did not understand yourself that I could be better than, I could be a better doctor than a better lecturer. But you still decided to be a lecturer because your friend went to be a lecturer. This is why you decided to be a lecturer. So always think what you can do. No one knows better than you. If you want to be an IAS officer, you know very well your subject, what kind of the questions are asked, what kind of reasoning, what kind of the pre-paper, then the main paper, there are GSC paper, then essay paper, then language paper. So you know all of these things, and if your friends have completed near about you, you can ask them. You can also just search for previous year question paper. You can go through 1 or 2 times and you can just judge yourself that how many of them are you able to attempt. If you are able to attempt whenever you are in 10th standard, at least if you are able to attempt 1 question or 2 question out of them, 3 question out of them, 4 question out of them, then you should think that you can do. But if you are in 10th and 12th or graduation, if you are still unable to complete or do any 10 question out of them, then you should never think of that. You should just think for other courses like polytechnic, like mechanical engineering, like diploma, like B Pharma. There are several other courses. You need to just think of that. Now there is a question. What is the question? That many of the persons, they live in the rural areas, mostly in UP and Bihar. They think that if you want to prepare for government service, be an IAS officer. Their first priority is to be an IAS officer. They think that if they are not successful in IAS officer, to be an IAS, IPS or other cadres in the UPSC service or PCS service there, then she at least must have the achievement in SSC, in railways, in banking and other sectors. So their first priority is to be an UPSC aspirant. That is his her ambition. Everyone's it is his her ambition. I had the ambition to be an IAS officer, to be an IPS officer. Okay, but I did not have the back support. I did not have the financial support. I taught myself and I read myself. I spent all the money on my education through my education channel, through my education process, and I kept on doing it, and I never think that I should be dependent on my family members, my father and mothers, because I thought that they were themselves feeling helpless themselves, and in that critical condition it was not my duty to again and again ask them for deliver a lot of money for my higher education, for my competitive examination. And I decided to prepare myself through the internet, through online, through the teachers I met, through my mentors, and through all the persons they passed out in the exam. I most of the time listened to the motivational videos. I set such persons who had motivation, who had successfully passed in the examination. I asked the exam strategy, and then I passed somehow in last year here. So if you are able to even succeed even in peon examination, if you think that even in primary teacher examination is very easy for to be after doing 10+2 or DLED or B.Ed after graduation, don't think that it is easy. No exam is easy nowadays. If you are going through the competitive nature, if you want to take any governmental seat honestly, naturally, without any hook and crook position, then you must have the ability to achieve it. You must study 18 hours, 16 hours, at least 12 hours every day. 18 hours, no, it would not be possible. 19 hours because there are very less number of students, very less they can study 18 hours, but at least 12 hours, 11 hours every day. And this process should be continued till you are successful. It doesn't mean that several students have several IQs level, they have several intelligence quotient level, and if you are studying 12 hours, someone studies only 8 hours, but she is similar to you because she has good IQ. So if a student studies only 8 hours, it would be equal to the 12 hours because that person IQ level is better than the person who are studying 12 hours. So everything is very different in nature. So never compare yourself with your friend, your neighbor, that he is an IPS officer, he is a bank PO, he is a railway officer, and I would be the same. No, you would be different. You can do different, and your power, your subject, your choice would indicate what you can do in future. Whether you would be a journalist, whether you be a mass media person, whether you be successful in MNC, whether you would be successful in foreign job, whether in tourism, in medical, in engineering. So never think that always medical, engineering and UPSC are the fields there to be successful in your life. There are several fields, but when your eyes opens yourself, it's very late, too late, and by then there is nothing but repentance in your life. So I would suggest you not to regret or have the repentance yourself. Before that, you need to just think of your courses, of your preparation. When you are in 10th class, you should choose the subject accordingly in 10+2, and then you should start preparing, and always stick to it. Never now think that what your friend is doing, what your sister is doing, brother is doing, and any acquaintance is doing. Whatever you have selected for the sake of to be a medical doctor, like you want to be a medical doctor, then you need to just have the PCB in 10+2, and you should stick to it. Now don't think that in future that I should have a CA student, I should have a chartered accountant. Now you have the PCB, but now you are thinking about the chartered accountant. Now if you are the student of the commerce, then now you are thinking about the medical could be better than this. If you are an engineering student, still you have the job, you are at the job, but now you think yourself, I should be an IAS officer. I should have the post of the have been the post of an IAS officer. So what happens that the human being's nature is, our desire is never complete. Our desire is always unfulfilled. So if you control on the desire, if you have the natural ability to learn something, keep on learning like this. Just like I have the natural ability to learn music, I have the natural ability to learn languages, I have the natural abilities to learn more and more books as well as subjects and other things. I am still not feeling feeling boredom myself. Whenever someone comes and she tells me to teach something in the subject of mathematics, science, or any other subject, I don't feel boredom, because I have completely befriended with the books. And the same kind of the things you need to inculcate in yourself. If you are befriended with the book and you think that book is your best friend, and no one can be better friend than your than book in your life, then you must be successful in your life, and no one can debar you from your success. So always think that you are important in your life, and you can do something very different in your life, and no one can stop you for your progress. So I hope that you would have got it, and likewise you can start preparing for the examination, and best of luck for your next episode.